Protoss player Sangho, he starts at the bottom left of the map. In red for Team MVP, we have
MVP Swagger.
great performance on map number 1, really well played, very solid. Up against a strong Zerg player to the top left, down a game though. We have for Team FX Open, the DreamHack champion.
FXO, Leenock.
Usually the closer for his team in the team league. Known as the Lean Octopus because of his excellent free spread and multitasking. And we have a gateway build for Swagger. This guy does have swag, man. I'm starting to, I'm feeling it.
Yeah, but still, that nickname though.
Listen, like, the nickname takes away from his swag, that's the problem.
Yeah. So we have Killer starting with a gateway first, and if I was Leenock, I would be really afraid right now. You need to play nearly a perfect game if you're down in the series. There's so much that could just take you out. If you play too cautious and your opponent plays greedy, you fall behind. If you take too many chances, your opponent might just go for a bit of a hit or miss build, and then you can be out of the run for Code S immediately. So Leenock has to be quite careful of how he's going to approach this. He's playing it safe with the pool first into hatch, but let's see what Swagger is going to do with this gateway opening.
Yeah, let's find out indeed. Gateway is done, core is on the way, he's already doing an interesting gas saturation, 2 in 1, so 3 probes at a time mining, which is slightly more efficient than like 3 in just 1 gas, but he should have 2 in 2, I think. A bit strange, maybe a mistake here. Gonna get a slight better income with minerals with this.
I'm a little bit blown away by Killer taking his first game so convincingly.
Yeah. I mean, he just blasted those Ultralists into oblivion.
Yeah. I mean, those Immortals, they were so great, and Leenock just went for this build without having too much information, without adjusting or anything, and then he didn't have the economy to pull that off. The macro game of Swagger was just way better in game number 1, which is a little bit surprising considering that Leenock is one of the best macro players that we have.
I think Leenock relied too much on his Ling Run buys, and they just really did not come through for him, because on cross positions, that's one of the only ways you can really, if you're going for this Ultralist style, harass your opponent when he's trying to take that 4th base, and Killer shut down the harassment. So he had that 4th so fast, uncontested, and that was what gave them the economy to make Archons at the same time as making double Immortals and getting those Colossi out.
For Leenock now, we currently are looking at 2 bases, has still the extra Queens on the way. And usually you would see the Zerg player already taking his 3rd base, but keep in mind that this is a gateway opening and not a Forge first opening, so Leenock has to adjust his build.
Yeah, and Leenock has seen nothing. He actually has no idea. His first 2 Lings are going now finally towards the right direction. The Overlord's getting closer as well, but he has absolutely no idea what build Swagger is doing.
On the other hand, Leenock is also a player that in the first game already showed that he delays his 3rd a little bit if he wants to go into this Ultralist style, because he wants to get these upgrades out earlier. So it's going to be interesting to see what he's going to do here with 2 bases so far.
Yeah, starting another gas right now, and now he sees that this is obviously not a Forge Fast Expand, sees the Robotics finishing up. And what is Killer going to do with that? Is he going to go straight into Immortals? He does. We could see a very aggressive Immortal Sentry timing.
Yeah, indeed we could. And what you usually do these days as a Zerg player is a lot of them will try to go either for Hydralisk or even a Swarm Host timing against it. Both works. The Swarm Host timing is not that common on a pro level, but it's still very effective if you execute it very well. But Leenock is heading into the same style that we saw him play on map number 1. He takes the 3rd base very late. In game 1 on Whirlwind, he took it at roughly 7:30. That would be in 1 minute. But he also starts with a double evolution chamber and will probably go into the armor and attack upgrade for ground.
Yeah, I think so. Swagger is just showing some very unique play today. I'm liking this gateway expand because it's not the same type of gateway expand we've seen very often.
Leenock is adjusting his build already. He's going into the double spine crawler. Here we have the upgrades. So he seems to really rely now on those Zerglings. We still don't have a Roach Warren. Roach Warren would usually be started roughly by now, maybe in like 30 seconds, but still.
I like this by Leenock, but the Immortals are going to hit those spine crawlers so hard. It's all about the Lings, really. The Lings can keep the Immortals from actually connecting with those spine crawlers. That's what Leenock wants.
A very early move out as well. This is not the timing that we had in Rings of Liberty. Now with the added Mothership Core, you can of course hit more aggressive timings, and especially now with the gateway openings, that's a very, very different style that we have.
He's making 4 gates, 5 gates behind this. I think this time he might recall, but after that he's going to go for a follow-up attack.
Yeah, he might be able to blast through here.
This is really, really going to be close. He has no sentry, needs to warp it in.
Yeah, he needs to warp that sentry, and at the top left, Swagger is already retreating. We have no +1 attack upgrade. Keep that in mind. Those Lings are really effective, even without +1/+1.
That was disappointing. He did not warp in a sentry there. I'm not entirely sure what happened, but Swagger lost so much back on his way home as well. Leenock is really in an incredibly good position now. Yeah,
he lost one of those Immortals, and that's the most important thing. And let's keep in mind that those Immortals don't do a thing against the Lings. What you want to have is, you want to have Immortals against Roaches, but he doesn't even have a Roach Warren. Here come those Zerglings.
He is very sentryless in this game, you know? He's just relying on Zealots protecting those Immortals, but if the sentries aren't there and the Lings get a surround on the Immortals, they're not going to be able to do that damage against the Spines later.
As a Zerg player that relies on Zerglings, you fear 2 things. Zealots with 1 additional attack upgrade to your armor upgrade, and sentries. That's the only 2 things that you're really afraid of. So in this situation where we have only Immortals and Zealots, Leenock is in a pretty good spot, especially since now he actually has the upgrade lead over his opponent with a 1-1 against 0 upgrades.
Yeah. Swagger's now in a very uncomfortable position. He can try to take a 3rd base, but, you know, I just don't see that being a viable option considering how many gateways he's added, the fact that he doesn't have upgrades, and he's really struggling to spend his money now. Makes a tight wall back at home, and he's got that Warp Prism ready to fly, so I think he's just going to try to break through this with the Zealot count that he has, brute force alone, and with that Warp Prism he'll be able to warp in without any pylons, and this is still something that could give Leenock some trouble, but he sees everything with the Watchtower. Swagger not carefully doing this, and now Leenock just needs to use Banelings and actually make like 5 more Spine Crawlers, it should be fine.
Leenock is in a really good spot here, and he just started Aspire and cancelled it again, so for a second I thought he might go into Mutalisk transition here, but for now he just seems to be relying on his Banelings and the Zerglings. Banelings are already in position. There are still no sentries.
Yeah, without sentries I don't think this is going to work. The Banelings are going to destroy those Zealots.
This should not work at all. If the Banelings connect not with the Immortals but with the Zealots, then there should not be a problem at all for him.
He needs to warp in Stalkers with this a little bit. Oh, the Banelings here not getting the best connects.
Not getting the best connects, but the connects are good enough, I feel. The Zealots are already struggling quite a bit, but there are so many of them.
Right now, there are 22 Zealots on the map. He needs to split them.
Yeah.
This is so strange.
More Baneling hits that we have, but does he have the numbers? Leenock, that is. A lot of Zealots for Swagger. He's warping in Stalkers.
This is so smart for him to warp in the Stalkers now. He needs to bring them forward. They cannot be firing at Overlords right now.
I actually feel that those Stalkers are a horrible choice.
Well, he needs another round of Zealots now, of course.
There are absolutely no Banelings anymore, so you can't do anything with the range unit. And we have the Zerglings coming in, and Stalkers don't do well against Zerglings.
Here come the rest of those Zealots, though. The Immortal adding some extra DPS. Remember, the upgrade lead definitely still in Leenock's favor. It's about to get even better with 2-2.
Yeah, if 2-2 hits, then I don't think Leenock can hold this, but Swagger is doing quite a lot of damage. In the end, though, Leenock should take this, especially now that the second set of upgrades is about to be completed.
The upgrades just make it so overwhelmingly in Leenock's favor here. Target on the meta, or not the medevac, but the Warp Prism is so good here.
You know what?
Swagger's done.
You know what currently is winning Leenock the game? The macro hatch in his main base. If not for the macro hatch, he would be dead.
You're so right. Without that larva, he would not have enough Lings to hold this back. This is such an interesting attack by Swagger. It's just like Killer at this point is basically saying, Leenock, I know you only defend with Lings in this matchup. This is your style, and I'm going to punish you for it. I'm going to attack you with like 20 Zealots and 2 Immortals. That was a pretty crazy attack. We've never seen anything like that before.
That was a battle of production, and this is a style that actually Diamaga used in Wings of Liberty with the Lings and Banelings against Protoss. And this is, of course, Heart of the Swarm, therefore all the times are a little bit different, but it's very reminiscent of that style.
We saw Lowly play like this a little bit as well.
That's true, especially at WCG 2012.
Killer is basically dead because he doesn't have proper tech, he does not have upgrades. then he doesn't have the anti-air he's going to need to deal with the Mutalisks that are about to start flying out of Leenock's based on that Spire finishes.
Leenock is already gathering up the gas that he needs. He's taking the third base now, and he has the macro hedge, he has the production, and once those Mutalisks are being built, what exactly can Swagger do here? He's still relying on his Zealots, and the Zealots are on 0 upgrades.
Yeah, against 2-2, not even just 1 upgrade that lead, but double.
Yep.
He needs to make a few more Banelings and just wait for or make the Mutas first as he's doing now, then make some Banelings I think at the front, and he should be totally fine against this.
Banelings will be all that he needs, and the Mutalisks should be in production now as well.
Yeah, a few Banelings going down. This is so weird to see Banelings in this matchup like this, but you know, it's definitely what works against what we're seeing.
He has sentries this time though, and here come the Stalkers. They are this time at least defended by Zealots at the front.
This could work if he gets the ramp.
Yeah, the Mutalisks are there, but he needs more of them. Here they are, all of them. The Banelings are not done just yet, but in a second, all those Zealots will be gone.
And there they go, they're all gone now. The force fields are fading away, and here comes Leenock. The Swarm cannot be held back by those force fields.
And Swagger has no chance here. Leenock moves in, and GG. The Zerg player claims victory in game number 2, brings it to a third match.
Swag with me, I'll swag with you. That's what Leenock says to that. That was a very unusual game, and Leenock really, really reacted well. The Baneling Nest, I think, was the perfect choice after scouting all those Zealots and seeing the composition he was up against.
Yeah, the Baneling Nest was definitely a very good choice. If you rely too heavily on Spine Crawlers, those few Immortals will take you apart. The Baneling is a very good choice for Leenock in this situation. Very well done. And that was a very early attack by Swagger at like 7:30, so really aggressive play.
It just shows that Leenock's the type of player who can think on the fly and really make a smart choice based on what he's seen really, really quickly.
He also played against a very aggressive Protoss player at DreamHack in the finals against Naniwa, so he is a bit more experienced with these type of builds. Build your best. This is going to be our last map for the best of 3.
This is a really awesome map for this matchup. I think it's pretty balanced. Protoss player can play different styles here, so can the Zerg. We'll see if Leenock changes up his style because he is playing so Ling heavy. I think that Killer is trying to hard counter him here with very aggressive Zealot heavy armies.
But you know, that was very dangerous, and I said it in the game, but I have to say it again. If not for that macro hatch, Leenock would have been dead.
You're absolutely right.
He needed these Lings, and Lings are such a lava-heavy unit, so that was very, very dangerous. Without a macro hatch, Leenock has no chance in this situation because he just can't produce as many units as he needs. But as it was, Leenock takes the game, but Swagger up against Leenock in the third game, jumping into the